Hi friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Rachel and welcome to a new reading vlog. So I think this will be the first reading vlog that you guys see since I have come back from taking a little bit of a break in the month of November. And before we get in the video, I just want to say thank you guys so much for your supportive and amazing comments on my community post that I made at the beginning of November. If you missed that, in the beginning of November, I posted on the community tab that I was just going to be taking a bit of a break from uploading in the month of November. I was feeling a little bit burnt out. My mental health was all over the place, as it tends to be, and I just felt like I wanted to take a hard reset. I wanted to take a step back, not upload, and just really prioritize my needs and come back better for you all. And I was nervous to take a break, honestly. I was nervous to make that post on my community tab, but you all just dispelled my fears so quickly because you guys are amazing and were so understanding and supportive and just made me feel so good about taking that break. So I just want to say thank you so much. We have cultivated the most beautiful community here, and I am so grateful to you all. So thank you so much for being wonderful. And while I am currently in the midst of my posting break, I missed vlogging. I missed talking to the camera. I missed talking to you all. It's been a few weeks since I picked up the camera, and I just woke up today and felt like, you know what? I want to start a new fantasy romance reading vlog. I want to create a video that I'll put out in December. That's when I'm sure you guys are seeing this, and just share all of my thoughts on the books that I am reading with the besties, because I'm really missing you guys, and this just feels very right to do this video. So that is what we're going to do. I'm going to be reading fantasy romance books in this reading vlog. I don't know how many books. I don't know what books. I have received a couple arcs that I'm really excited about, so I might include some of those. And then I also just have like my full, Kindle Unlimited library, which has a ton of books on it. But let's start with the first book that I am currently reading, which is The Dawn of the Cursed Queen by Amber V. Nicole. I am right now about 40% of the way through this book. This is the third book in the Gods and Monsters series. This is an urban fantasy romance series, the first book being the Book of Azrael, and I have really fallen in love with this series. It's so funny. I read the Book of Azrael last year and I liked it, but it didn't like blow me away, and I don't know, I didn't feel too strongly about it. But then I decided to reread it this year, and I don't know what happened, but it hit me completely differently on a reread, and I loved it, and I gave it 5 stars, and I don't understand why I gave it 3.5 stars the first time around, but I loved the writing. The characters I just connected to in such a way, and this is now becoming very quickly one of my favorite fantasy romance series. It definitely gives me Crescent City vibes, but a little bit darker, a little bit grittier, different world for sure, but I can definitely feel those connections. That urban fantasy setting that I just absolutely love definitely exists in here as well. So I'm on book 3 and I'm really loving how the story is expanding. The world is just getting so big. There is so much here. Amber V. Nicole has just created this entire huge expansive world, and with every book we have seen more and more of it. We're also adding new POVs, which I really love, and the developments with our characters, it's been insane. People that you think are bad, are they bad? People that you think are good, are they good? I feel like I am just constantly being kept on my toes with the series, and I'm loving that. I love the romances that are developing. I love the romances that have already developed. Really, this book just has like everything going for it. I'm super obsessed with it, so very much enjoying this book so far. I will continue to read The Dawn of the Cursed Queen and keep you guys updated, but I am not reading that book physically. I'm actually reading it on my new Kindle, which we need to discuss her for a moment because she is fantastic. So I got the new Kindle Paperwhite. I believe it is the 12th generation, and it is pink, which as soon as I saw that the new Paperwhite was coming out in different colors, I had to get the pink one. You guys know me, it was an automatic, and it's so cute. I have like a ton of stickers under the case, so I don't know how much you can see it, but it's kind of this like raspberry hot pink, and it is so cute. I think it also came in this jade green color, which was really beautiful. And I've had this for a little over a week now, so I just wanted to give a little bit of a mini review if you are thinking about getting the new Kindle Paperwhite. I absolutely love it. It is so much faster than the Kindle I had before. I got my Kindle Paperwhite in 2021, so whichever Kindle edition came out that year, that is the one I had, and this is so much faster, like with the page turning, with clicking on books, with searching, it's so much better. Also, the battery life has been really good. I've only had it for a little over a week now, so I guess I can't speak to it that much, but I've been using it quite a bit, and I charged it up to 100%. It's at like 92% right now, and I've used it almost every day for the last week, and the battery has barely changed, so I really love that. It's also a little bit bigger. The screen is a little bit bigger, which I really love. My Kindle was starting to have some technical issues. Like I would click on a book and it would say queued, and it would stay in the queued status for like 10 minutes, and I ended up having to turn off and then turn on my Kindle multiple times just to get it working again. So it was definitely time for me to get a new one, and I am so happy with it. I know that also the Kindle Colorsoft just came out, which is the first Kindle with color on the screen, which is very cool. I didn't feel overly excited about it. I have seen some people getting it and loving it. I've seen some people getting it and not being super impressed with it. And for me, I just think the price point is a lot. And two, when I saw people reviewing the Colorsoft, I didn't feel this overwhelming like, oh my God, that is going to be a totally different experience for me and I have to have it. Like, I don't highlight in my Kindle, which I know is like an exciting feature of the Colorsoft, that the highlighter comes in different colors. I'm not much of a highlighter when I'm reading on my Kindle, and I don't know, I just didn't feel overly compelled to pick up the Colorsoft. I just like the Paperwhite. I think I'm gonna stick with that probably for the foreseeable future, unless a new Colorsoft comes out that is just like blowing my mind and does a lot of things that this Kindle can't give me. So if you are considering getting a new Kindle, I would recommend the Paperwhite. It is so good and just feels like the bright, shiny, new, quicker version of the existing Paperwhite. So I'm really happy with it. I love it to death, and I'm gonna go sit down and read on it. So I will talk to you guys after I've made a little bit more progress in Dawn of the Cursed Queen, and we will talk soon. Hello friends, happy Wednesday. I had to crack open. I had to bring out the ring light today because we are officially in the dark times. It is literally 5 p.m. while I'm filming this, but it is completely pitch black out. So you may be seeing more of the ring light in my videos. I definitely prefer filming in, you know, natural light, but the ring light, she's cute, she's great. She makes my hair look very shiny. We love her. So let's talk. We have a lot to go over, you guys. I have finished a book. I've started another. I'm going to start another tonight, and then I have book mail, which is very exciting. I haven't had book mail in a while, and I haven't opened it in a vlog in a while, so really looking forward to doing that. Let's just go over my current reads and what's going on with that first. First up, I finished Dawn of the Cursed Queen by Amber V. Nicole. I finished this today. It was so good, as expected. This is the third book in the series, so I don't have a whole lot to say in this video because there's not too much that I can say, but I love this series. It is quickly becoming one of my all-time favorite fantasy romance series. If you have not picked it up yet, what are you doing? You need to pick it up. Diana Martinez is one of my favorite fictional characters ever. She is so badass, so funny, and just so chaotic in the best way, and you never know what she's going to do, and I just love her recklessness and her heart and how hard she goes for the people that she loves. So really amazing main character in this book, and then so many amazing side characters. The POVs continue to grow. I have just gained a fondness for so many characters that when I first met them, I didn't really feel too much about them, and now I'm like, I will perish if anything happens to them. So I am just so impressed by the series and the world. I talked about this earlier, but the expansion of the world in this book in particular was so impressive, and we still have more to go. I think this is going to be a 7-book series, which is crazy, but at the end of each book, we have new concepts introduced, and the ending of this book in particular, I'm almost a little bit confused by it. Like, I don't get how we got here. Like, how is that a thing, and what does that mean in the context of everything we've been presented so far? But I am sure that will all be explained in book 4. I'm excited for it though, but I was just like, I didn't even know that this was an option when I was finishing this book and like realizing what was happening. This is a thing, this is happening, okay. That was like so wild and unexpected, and I just really love the series. It has my whole entire heart. I gave this 4.5 stars. It was great, but I just save 5-star ratings for books that give me that really overwhelming 5-star feeling. But this is like an amazing book. 4.5 stars is a very good rating for me, so I really loved this. All right, next up, I am 32% of the way through A Fate Forged in Fire Fire by Hazel McBride. So this is an ARC that I received, and this book comes out in May of 2025. And I was really excited when I got the email that I had been sent this ARC because this book is just so right up my alley, and 32% of the way in, I'm really liking it. I hadn't heard of this book before, and I haven't read anything by this author, but I'm very locked in and very excited. So this is a Celtic-inspired fantasy romance. I think it is like enemies to lovers, but I think we're almost getting into maybe more like reluctant allies to lovers. That's kind of how I interpreted the synopsis when I read it, which is great. Reluctant allies to lovers is amazing. And we also have dragons, which is always going to be a win for me. So far, the dragons have played a bit of a role in the book. I'll be curious to see how important they are going to become, but they're definitely there, which is great. This book has a lot going on. I'm gonna try to keep it brief. I feel like even in the description of the book, like there's just so many different things. This book follows Amira, and she lives with her twin brother and her adoptive parents and her adoptive brother in a kingdom, and they are blacksmiths. And Amira has fire magic, and she has to keep this hidden in the kingdom that they live in. A lot of people have different like elemental magic, but there is this large religious group that is very tied up with the monarchy that encourages people to stop using their magic, you know, let it go, and to dedicate themselves to the religion and just, you know, give up their ways. A lot of people in Amira's village don't want to give up their magic, but this religious group has really taken a lot of the land by storm. There's a nearby kingdom where people are totally following it and not using their magic, and there are a lot of animals that will tie themselves to people and bond with people, and that has stopped happening in a lot of the other kingdoms. So this religious group is a negative thing. Also, they're very sexist and homophobic right off the bat when we meet them. They're just terrible, and it seems that their interests are oppressing the people, basically. And the fact that they're tied up with the monarchy is not great for the townspeople and for Amira, of course. But what Amira has to hide from everyone is not only that she has fire magic, but that she is the firstborn female in a long line of this family that once did have power, but there had to be a woman born in order to take over the crown. And there's been so many men born, and she's finally the first female born. So the sitting king, which we're not a big fan of him, he kicks the bucket, and Amira is like, okay, now is my time to shine, because people don't know who I am. People don't know that like I am this kind of like long lost female lineage. Finally, a girl was born, and I'm gonna take over the kingdom. I'm gonna write everything. I'm gonna get rid of this religious group, and I'm going to make sure that there's freedom and people can be whoever they want and love whoever they want, and everything is gonna be a-okay. But overthrowing an existing monarchy is no easy feat, and we definitely see that with Amira as she and her family try to stage a coup, essentially, and it doesn't go well, as one would expect. And she particularly runs into trouble with one of the princes. He is the second born. I believe his name is Fiorian, and they kind of battle it out. And once Amira is revealed as like, hey, I want to overthrow the monarchy, I am this long lost royal line, and I'm going to bring peace to the land. Obviously, the sitting royal family wants to keep their power, so the townspeople are very divided, and chaos ensues from there. There is a lot going on in this book, but that is what I've absolutely loved about it so far. 32% of the way in, it has been so entertaining and fast paced. It has really, really gripped me from page one, and a lot of what I thought was happening and things that I thought were going in a certain direction have kind of all fallen apart. And now I'm at a part in the book where I'm like, I don't know how our characters are going to proceed, and like what needs to happen and who needs to help and all of that. So this book has been, number one, very, very entertaining and just so fast paced in a way that has really worked for me. I like the writing style. I really like our main character. She is, she's a little like spiky, I guess you could say. She rubs people the wrong way sometimes, even her own family. But what I like about her is she is very hell-bent on being the queen who is going to save things, and she knows that she has that in her. I feel like a lot of times we have very self-sacrificing martyr main characters, and Amira is like, no, I'm gonna be the queen. I'm going to save everything. I just need to get there. Step aside, please, because I know what I'm talking about. And this does lead her to being a bit reckless and very chaotic, but it's also just so entertaining. She is just so sure of herself, and a little bit of that is crumbling as some things are going on, but she really does come off strong, I think, in a way that is just like so entertaining and makes like a really great main character. So I'm really liking this book so far. I think it's really cool. I think the world is fun. I like the characters. I'm very curious to see how this romance is going to develop. And yeah, I'm really here for it. So I am really liking this book. I will keep you guys posted on my thoughts. And for my next book for this vlog, I decided I want to start The Dagger and the Flame by Catherine Doyle. This is a book that I've heard so many people talking about. I feel like this book is like kind of having a moment right now. Everyone seems to be loving it. I have received messages from you guys, comments from you guys on my videos. People seem to think I am going to like this, and I'm really hopeful. I think it sounds great. It's fantasy romance, and I know that we have warring families, which I love. I love that micro trope. I love that setup for a story because it obviously makes just very high stakes enemies to lovers tension. So I'm really excited to start this book. I'm probably gonna start it like later tonight, but just letting you guys know this will be the next book I read in this vlog. So very much looking forward to The Dagger and the Flame. All right, now that I've been talking for 12 minutes, let's do more talking. I'm gonna open some book mail. So starting with this package, which is super cute. So I'm not sure what this is, but I know that it is from Bloom, which is very exciting, and I'm very grateful to receive whatever this is. Let's see. I also just love their packaging. It's so cute. Okay, I'm dying. So I've just opened the top, and there are tissues. That is absolutely hilarious. And okay, I think I know what this is because I can tell from the like packaging, it fits a theme of a book that I know is coming out. Oh my God, this is so pretty, you guys. Okay, I received Fragile Sanctuary by Catherine Cowles. Catherine Cowles writes romantic suspense, and I also think like definitely focuses on small town romance, which Elsie Silver, Chestnut Spring series, small town romance, my favorite romance series of all time. So a small town romance is always going to be a win for me. And this is so gorgeous. I don't know if you guys can see like the foil cover, and then look at the sprayed edges. I absolutely love that. So I am so excited for this, and the tissues, I'm scared. All right, next up we have my Fairy Loot Romantasy adult romantasy book subscription, book only pick, the Romantasy subscription. You guys know what this is. I have to tell you all that I am definitely considering canceling my Fairy Loot Romantasy subscription. I just haven't been obsessed with the books that they've picked. There's been some decent ones, but nothing that has really blown me away. I think the way that Fairy Loot customizes their books is incredible. Like, so talented, amazing artists, and the books themselves are very, very pretty, but I don't know, I haven't been in love with the books, so I don't know what this is, but I hope it is a book that I'll be excited about. So the theme is Dark Dalliance. I'm not gonna read what the card says because I just want to see what the book is first, but oh, okay. I really like this art. See, this is how they get me. Okay, so let me pull out this character art. A little dark academia moment. That's exciting. This book is, oh, The Coven by Harper L. Woods. Oh my God. Okay, I own The Coven. I haven't read it yet. I had no idea that it was giving this energy. This is a beautiful, beautiful book. I love this cover, and like perfect for fall. Also, the sprayed edges are really pretty. On the back it says, "For those who love them villainous." That's very cute. Let's see. Oh, see, this is how they get me. This is so pretty. Like, this is so beautiful. Honestly, this cover, just like, it's giving Locke's Library, is it not? Like, this is her aesthetic 100%. Oh my God, this is really pretty. Shoot. Have you guys read The Coven? Comment down below if you've read The Coven, if you think it's good. I want to hear your thoughts because I haven't picked it up yet, just because I haven't picked it up yet, and I have 3 million books on my TBR. This definitely puts it at front of mind. Here is the reverse dust jacket, which just kind of looks like the original cover. I definitely prefer this outer part. The end pages. You guys know I am end pages biggest fan. This is really, really gorgeous. Oh man, I don't know. Okay, I need to read this and see what I think, and I don't know. I haven't been so obsessed with really any of the books, I feel like, from Fairy Loot, and I feel like I hear a lot of people say that too. I have friends who have the subscription. They're not overly obsessed. So I don't know, but like, oh God, this is so gorgeous. And like, I'm happy to have it. Like it's a stunning addition to my shelves, but let me know if you've read The Coven. I'm still gonna read it, but I'm curious what you guys think of it. All right, and then the final bit of book mail I have is a book that I pre-ordered, I think literally in December of last year. Maybe not that far back, maybe like somewhere between January or March of this year. So a really long time, and it's finally here and I'm really excited for it. So that is, oh, this is so heavy. Oh my God. The Courting of Bristol Keats by Mary E. Pearson. This is Mary E. Pearson's adult debut fantasy romance. I had to get it. I have read the first 2 books in the Remnant Chronicles. Loved book 1. Book 2 I wasn't as obsessed with, but I do need to finish that trilogy at some point. I also really want to read the Dance of Thieves duology, but people say to finish the Remnant Chronicles first. But this is so, so pretty, and I do like Mary E. Pearson's writing style. I just wasn't as like gripped by book 2 as I was book 1 with the Remnant Chronicles, but I loved book 1 so much. So I definitely know that I can really love a Mary E. Pearson book. This has Fae, Dark Secrets, Addictive Romance. This is a very beautiful book. I'm excited for this. I want to give Mary E. Pearson like a fresh shot, read something different from her. Maybe I'll like it a little bit more than the Remnant Chronicles. So that is going to be it for this check-in. I'm going to continue reading A Fate, Fortune, Fire. I'm going to start The Dagger and the Flame, and I will keep you guys updated once I have thoughts on those books. So we'll talk soon. Hello friends, how are we doing? Let's try to do a quick reading update. Are we capable of doing such a thing? We shall see. So I want to talk about A Fate, Fortune, Fire, and then also The Dagger and the Flame, which I have started, but let's just quickly talk about A Fate, Fortune, Fire. I don't have too much to say right now. I am still really liking it, but what I wanted to talk about with you all is I just read a really amazing dragon scene, which made me so happy. I feel like we got to understand the dragons a bit more, their place in this world, what they're like, their relationship to people, and it was really great. It was very epic, very iconic. So I'm really happy about that, because sometimes dragons get advertised to be in a fantasy book and that really draws you in, and then they play like a very small role, or they just don't feel as amazing and just magnificent as dragons are. And I am really happy that they seem to be playing an important role as of now. I will definitely keep you guys updated on how that develops and how I feel their role is in the story, but it was a really, really cool scene. Also wanted to talk about the romance. So I definitely like know who our main players in the romance are going to be, but not a lot has happened. So this is very, very slow burn, especially because I believe this is a duology, so we only have 1 more book. So I'll be curious to see if, you know, the heat is going to get turned up on that. Honestly, every single time I say this, when I'm reading a book and I'll be like, yeah, the romance hasn't really kicked off yet, the next page after I stop filming, like the romance takes 1,000 leaps forward. So I am sure that we are in for some fun very soon, but just something I wanted to know, kind of at the 45% mark, I want to say, that's where I'm at. There hasn't been a ton of romantic development, but hopefully we will get more of that soon. All right, now let's discuss The Dagger and the Flame by Catherine Doyle. So this is a YA fantasy. I was a little bit incorrect in my previous understanding of what this book is about. I talked about warring families. It's more like warring gangs and kind of like found family. So kind of right, kind of wrong. The logistics of it all had me confused. So our characters live in Fantôme, which is this very gritty city, which I love in a fantasy setting. Absolutely love the setting in this book so far. We have our 2 main characters, Ransom and Seraphina. In the beginning of the book, Seraphina's mother is killed and she ends up running off to join the Cloaks, who are a band of thieves. Her mother told her, you know, if anything ever happens, go run off to them. The madam who runs the Cloaks, she agrees to take Seraphina in, and Seraphina has to become a thief. That is part of the gig when you are a part of the Cloaks. Then we have Ransom, and Ransom is a dagger, and daggers go around and take people out for a living. He is a sad boy for sure, major sad boy energy, and he had a really rough life growing up. He still honestly has a rough life. And something about the daggers is they take shade, which is this drug that kind of just destroys you from the inside out. You get like black veins all over your skin, and it's really not good for people. I believe it can become very addictive and just very damaging. But when you are a dagger, it's like part of the job. You take it. So Ransom is definitely struggling a lot with his life, but is kind of just going through the motions because he doesn't really have much else to live for. Our two characters' paths converge, and what starts out kind of as a game of cat and mouse quickly becomes a bit of a budding romance. I believe I saw in the description, I haven't got to this part yet, but I think they're gonna like reluctantly team up over something. There's definitely an air of mystery about some things going on around the city. There's also like these monsters. So we have a lot going on. But first impressions, where I'm at, I'm about a third of the way through the book. I'm liking this book, but I'm not loving it. I think that the characters are fine enough. I think the setting is cool. Definitely, that's like probably the thing I like the most about the book. I'm just not overly like excited about any of the elements in this book. I'm not thinking about it when I put it down. I'm not super curious like, oh, what do these monsters have to do with this? And what's the connections? All of that. I don't know. Right now, it's just not doing like a whole lot for me, but I'm not actively disliking it either. It's just like totally fine. So that is where I am at a third of the way through this book. I'm a little bit disappointed. I wanted to be a bit more excited about it at this point. I think it's enjoyable, but I don't know how much of an impression this book is gonna leave on me, but we have a long way to go. We still have 2/3 of the book left, but that's just where my feelings are at now. I'll definitely let you guys know how things develop with this book. So I'm gonna go read a little bit more. I'll talk to you guys soon when I have more to say. Hello friends, how are we? I have very exciting news. I have finished A Fate Forged in Fire and The Dagger in the Flame. Let's talk A Fate Forged in Fire first. I loved this. I thought this was so much fun. I was surprised by a lot of things, which made me really happy. I thought the use of dragons in this story was really well done and exciting. I wouldn't say that the dragons are as involved as like Fourth Wing or the Wyverns in Throne of Glass, but they definitely have a presence. There is an importance to our dragons and how they relate to the plot and our characters. So I think if you are looking for dragons in a fantasy romance, you will be pretty satisfied with what we get. I'm hoping we see more of them in book 2. And the romance. Okay, can we talk about how much the romance kicked up? This book was actually pretty spicy. I was not expecting that at all. There were some things that happened that I personally have never read in a romance before. Not gonna spoil it, but just like was like, okay, yes, here we are, we're doing this. Needless to say, it was spicier than I thought it was gonna be. I feel like how the book starts out and just like how the characters are, you don't think it's really gonna go anywhere like that, but we went places. We definitely went places, but I so enjoyed it. And other than the spice, I think that the romance was developed well. Our male main character is a self-loathing, broody MMC. That is my favorite. This man has a lot of inner demons and has a lot of inner turmoil with his motivations, his goals, staying true to what he has always known, falling in love with someone on enemy side, and what that all means for him and his place in the world. And it was great. I loved digging into that, and his and our main character's dynamic were really great. I love our female main character. She is a stabby, bisexual, angry, vengeful, strong, funny, just really unpredictable character. And I just loved being in her head. This is going to be a duology, and with the way that things ended in book 1, I mean, God, book 1 doesn't even come out until May. I need book 2 like ASAP. Things ended so, I don't know what to believe. That is how I felt when I finished this book, is I don't know if I can accept the ending. I don't know if I, like, who do I trust? What do I think? I don't know. But overall, this was a very, very fun book. I'm going to give it 4 stars. The only real criticism I have is there were a few moments that went by a little bit too quickly for me. There were times when I really wanted to kind of marinate. Is that a word I want to use? Sure. Marinate in some scenes. I think that would have boosted up some character development, some romance development, and even like plot moments. And I think that would have done really well for that. So yeah, there were just a few times where I was like, oh, we're already moving past this. Like, I want to hear more, but definitely not a major theme throughout the book where I felt it was taking the story down in any way. So this is a 4-star. I really liked it. You should put it on your TBR for 2025. And yeah, it was a really fun time. All right, now let's discuss The Dagger in the Flame by Catherine Doyle. I finished this as well. I didn't really check in too much with this book because I didn't have a whole lot to say. I love the setting, which I've already talked about, and I thought that the banter was very fun. Like, definitely well-written banter. The dialogue, I think, is very well written in this book. I just, like, it was fine. It was good. Here's my problem. I finished this book and I kind of sat with it for a second and was like, yeah, that was decent. That was good. I will never think about this book again. This story is not going to stick with me. The characters are not going to stick with me. And I definitely don't regret reading it. I don't think it's a bad book, but it just, it's kind of just there. It's just there. I definitely enjoyed some moments throughout the book, but I didn't have this overall feeling of like, I'm loving this and this is so great and what's gonna happen next. I did give it a 3.5 star. The more that I sit with it, I'm thinking more just a 3-star read. I don't think I'm going to pick up the sequel. I believe this is going to be a trilogy. I don't think I'm going to, never say never, but I don't think I'll be like rushing out to get it when it comes out. All right, and then let's move on to what is going to be my final read for this vlog, and that is The Courting of Bristol Keats by Mary E. Pearson. This just absolutely stunning book. I'm really excited about this. As I said, I kind of have a 50-50 shot of enjoying this. I really loved the first book in the Remnant Chronicles and then really did not like the second book, but I'm definitely optimistic going into this. This is Mary E. Pearson's first adult fantasy romance, which I'm really looking forward to. And I know that this is a portal fantasy, which I love portal fantasies. Do we not all want to find a fairy portal and go into it? I, for one, absolutely do. So I'm really looking forward to this. I think this book has a good setup kind of from what I've seen of the synopsis. So I am going to start this and then I will talk to you guys later with my first impressions. Hi friends, oh my god, do we have a lot to talk about. Okay, it has been several days since we last talked because there was and I did not know that this was a thing until this last week, there was a bomb cyclone happening in the Pacific Ocean, which greatly impacted various parts of the West Coast. I live in Washington, if you did not know, and Western Washington was hit pretty hard. Major storms, major wind surges, power outages, internet impacted. It's been a very crazy week, and we do have our power back now. We were out for a couple days. We still do not have internet back. We're not really sure when we're gonna be getting internet back. Obviously those are very like frivolous things. Thankfully we are safe. We did not receive too much damage to like our house or in our neighborhood near where we live, but I have not picked up the camera, but I was reading. That is the one good thing. I had my book to keep me company. This was my little storm buddy. However, she was not a very good storm buddy because I gave this book 2 stars. So that's what we're going to talk about right now. I have already finished this book. I did not check in with you guys for the reasons that I previously listed. It was just like such a crazy time and vlogging was not my priority. So I apologize for that, but I did still want to give you guys my thoughts on this book, just kind of do a quick review. Not for me, not my favorite book that I've read this year. I'm so disappointed because like I said, when we last talked, portal fantasy, love portal fantasy. That is literally my dream, right? Hello, like walking into the forest and there's a fairy portal. Yes, please, I would love that. This book, while it does have a great setup, I just feel that the execution was lackluster. That's kind of my word for this book. Very lackluster. The romance was lackluster. The characters, the plot, I just did not feel a whole lot for anything happening with this book. Let me give you guys a brief synopsis. Our main character's name is Bristol Keats, and she is a human girl. Her parents have both seemingly passed away. She is the middle sister taking care of her younger sister. Her older sister is kind of in and out of their life, and she's just trying to survive. She works a ton and is just trying to pay her bills and take care of her little sister. She one day gets contacted by an estranged aunt that she has never heard of who says, hey, I have a really priceless art piece that used to belong to your father. I would love to meet up with you, give it to you, and help you guys out because I know that you are struggling. Bristol is obviously very wary of this because she's like, I've never heard of you. How do you know our financial state, etc., etc. But after a series of unfortunate events, honestly, in her workday that day, she decides, you know what, I kind of feel like I am being pushed to go meet with this estranged aunt. I need the money. let's see what happens. She goes to meet up with this aunt, but very quickly realizes that she is meeting up kind of with this fairy council who are very interested in Bristol and think that she can help them close a portal in their world, Elfame. Bristol had no idea that fae and fairies were real, so this is obviously very jarring for her, but she does end up agreeing to go to Elfame, help them close this portal. She's not really sure why they think she's capable of doing it, to not only send money to her sisters, but they also suggest that they can help her find her dad. So her dad may not be dead after all. That's not a spoiler, by the way. That is on the inside dust jacket. So she goes to Elfame with a very grumpy king named Tigan. The two of them kind of have this budding romance, and Bristol gets to know this world of Elfame. She starts taking classes to learn their history. She kind of becomes this recruit and works with the military and finds out a lot about herself in the process. That is what our book is about, which to me, from the outside before reading this, sign me up, sounds very fun. But I had just multiple issues with the execution of the story. First of all, the characters, I've said it once, I'll say it again, I'll never stop saying it. I am a character girly. I want interesting characters. I think really well written, dynamic characters can save a boring plot, can save the lack of a plot. Some of my favorite books of all time are pure vibes, and I think that this book really suffered from just boring characters. I think Bristol is perfectly fine. I don't think she's unlikable, but I did not find her to be interesting. I feel like I don't even really know her personality all that well. Then we have old Tigan. Tigan is kind of nothing, you know? I feel like he was once a glass of milk, perhaps, because he is just not interesting. He isn't overly broody, he isn't overly confident, but he isn't like super insecure. He's kind of nothing. Like, I will take unlikable, I will take overly broody, I will take kind of an overbearing, you know, whatever, if the life is there in the character, if we can see some growth even. And I don't know, I didn't like him. I don't think that he really does a whole lot for the plot. I mean, he's a major part of it, obviously, he needs to be there, but I just didn't really care for him. And their romance followed suit with the characters. It developed like fine, but I was not really excited about them getting together. Like, I didn't really feel anything for the romance. And then the plot and pacing of this book, we had multiple instances of time jumps that just bothered me. They would only be like a few weeks or even just like multiple days, but significant things were happening during those time jumps that we were being told, like, oh, well, it's been a few weeks and she's been training and doing this and da-da-da. And I'm like, wait, I feel like we should have seen those things so that she could develop as a character. How is this fish out of water adjusting to life? I want to see more of that. I think that I could have fallen for Bristol as a character more if those time jumps didn't happen as much. And it wasn't even just in relation to her character. There was a particular scene that I was really excited to see, but we just like fully jumped into kind of the next part of the story. And I was disappointed because that was like one of the things that had me really excited about this book. The time jumps and pacing I thought were odd. And then I just think the info dumping in this book was not great. I mean, info dumping I feel like kind of has a negative connotation. I feel like almost every adult fantasy has info dumping in some way, and I don't think that it has to be inherently negative, but the way that the info dumping was done in this book was negative for me. It was very much a sit down and we're gonna teach you all this stuff for multiple pages. Okay, and then sit down and this is what happened with this lore and here's the history of this. And it wasn't done in a way where the story, I feel like, was propelling and bringing the reader in. So yeah, 2 stars for this book. I am so sad because look at these edges. I want to keep this book because like it's beautiful. I think I'm just gonna put the sprayed edges face out on my shelves, which I probably would have done anyway. This was quite a dud for me. It's not like I expected this book to be a 5-star, but I definitely wanted a bit more. I always love to see YA fantasy authors step into adult fantasy and see what they can do, but for me, this just did not work. I do want to say one good thing about this book that I did enjoy. The world, Elfame, I think it's very cool. I wish we could have gotten more of it. We definitely get to see some of it, but there were lots of different fairy and fae and the kind of like this downtown kingdom area that was really intriguing to me, and I do think that there was some strength in those moments. That is my review of The Courting of Bristol Keats, and reading this during a power outage. I definitely could have picked up like another book. I didn't have to force myself to read this, but it just kind of felt like, well, I can't work. I can't really do anything else, so let me just power through this book and see what I think. And that is where I'm going to leave you, besties. So thank you so much for watching this vlog. I really appreciate you all. It kind of went off the rails towards the end, but external forces were at play here. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you made it to this point and you wanted to let me know, go ahead and leave the cloud emoji or the rain emoji, something like some stormy weather type of emoji. Please make sure that you're following me on Instagram and Goodreads. They're always linked down below. I really appreciate that you watched this video. I hope that you're having a fantastic day. I love you all so, so much, and I will catch you guys in the next one.